What is up, clean freaks and filthy friends alike? Filthy Dan coming at you for another film discussion, and boy, let me tell you, I have been studying really fucking hard for this one. It is exam season, so what better film to look at than Final Exam? So Final Exam was released in 1981, was directed by Jimmy Huston, stars Cecile Baghdadi, Joel S. Rice, and Timothy L. Rayner, and follows a killer who is stalking a campus for the remaining students while the university that they are at is beginning its summer vacation. Now, that's a very simple plot, yes, I know, but this one does two things right for me right off the bat. It's a 1981 slasher. Those of you who have been following me know that I am a fucking staunch supporter of the 1981 slashers, and it is a campus slasher. So that's two wins right there, right off the bat. So yeah, this one it's a slow burn in a lot of ways. It gives us a nice cold opening kill. You got a boy and a girl at a kind of a lover's lane type setup, and of course they meet their end by the killer. And as some people point out, this killer is kind of ridiculous. Like, he jumps on the fucking hood of the car, and the boy starts driving the car, and the killer just fucking rips through the fucking rag top of the car, because it was a convertible with the drop top. Tops up, but he rips the fucking kid right through the top and just stabs him to death. I know my buddy Matt Facci probably got a kick out of that part for all the wrong reasons, I'm sure. Like, after that cold open kill, though, we get a good amount of character development. We get to meet our final girl. We get to meet this nerdy fellow who is, for all intents and purposes, a pre-Randy. In fact, his name is pretty damn close. He's called Radish. Obsessed with fucking the phenomenon of mass murders. And we get to meet some of the jocks and just a bunch of the local, I don't know if local is even the right word, but the kids at this college. And it lets us get to know them for a good 45 minutes, 50 minutes before the killer really starts operating. Like, we see the killer stalking around the campus, driving his black van and shit. But it focuses on character development, which is something I can get behind. If a slasher focuses on developing its characters, it gives me a reason to like or dislike these people a lot more than just your basic slasher where you get, oh, just a dumb jock. What does he do? No one knows. He's just a dumb jock. A bitch. What's she do? She's just mean. Rich. Want her to die. This one kind of lets you, like, it doesn't really give these characters too much to work with, but it spends enough time with them where you feel like you know them, even though you don't. Like, the character development was, upon rewatch, a little weak, but it still tried. Like, well, some of the characters are kind of half-assed developed. Like, you still get a good feeling for who most of them are. The ones who really get the most development, I find, were Courtney, who is our final girl, and Radish, who again is the kind of nerdy type who's very paranoid and he's kind of ahead of his time as a movie character. And the first half of this movie really does feel like I don't know, kind of like a frat comedy. And I mean, I found it entertaining. I mean, you get some of that typical fraternity hazing, which is always fun to see in a horror film, and even in the fucking normal college films, you know. But we spend most of the day, and the first half of the film is mostly the daytime of the final exams. We get this really sick fucking prank on the campus that it's a scene that definitely would not fly today, for obvious reasons. We get these guys who are wearing fucking ski masks and fucking sweaters. They jump out of this van, just open fire on the fucking campus ground, shoot a bunch of students, take them in the car. Turns out it was just a prank, but still, that scene, like, joking or not, would not fly in a movie made today. Again, obvious reasoning on that, but that's like one little bit of the prank we get to see. Like, we have also this pledge who has to steal a fucking master copy of a test so that his frat brothers can fucking get the answers right without having to study. So he goes and does that. They're like, hey, you did it, you little shit. But you're not wearing your pledge pin. So they fucking tie his ass to a tree, fucking pour water on him, whipped cream, fucking fire extinguisher powder, pour fucking ice in his fucking underwear. And I don't know, it's just little hazing moments like that are just like hazing and pranking that really just kind of, I don't know, adds a sense of life to this film. A lot of the characters in here are just really fucking entertaining, even though some of them don't have a whole lot to work with. But when nightfall hits, though, is when the film really starts to take its horror direction. The stalker is ready to start killing, and he goes through the campus just killing off these students who remain. And I mean, a lot of the kills are pretty tame for the most part. Like, there's a few that are handled well enough to where you know they were trying, but with a low budget, it's kind of hard to make these kills really great. When you don't have, let's say, a more talented effects supervisor, it's really hard to make these kills really great. But I did enjoy the kills for the most part in here, again, even though some of them were quite watered down. I found also there was a nice bit of tension throughout the film, especially whenever the killer is stalking rather than killing. Like, he's just going around. We do get to see quite a bit of the killer, so it's not as in the shadows as like Halloween would have been. And funny enough, when this film came out, it was sort of compared to that. Some say that this one, I think some of the old reviews whenever this came out was that this one was a little more entertaining but less scary because of how much we see the killer, and I do definitely see that as a valid point of reasoning. I mean, the killer in this, we see him quite a few times. We don't really see his face. Like, we get little glimpses here and there, but we don't really clearly see him. But the killer in this is a fucking badass. I mean, Facci pointed out that this guy's got ridiculous strength. He's also kind of a ninja. There's like there's a scene when I think it was the coach, he's going bow hunting, and he comes to the school, and he hears Courtney screaming, and he shoots his fucking crossbow or bow and arrow right at the killer, but the killer catches the arrow, runs down the stairs, stabs him with it, and it's like, yeah, that was kind of ninja when he does that. And he fucking unties this dude from a tree, gets up into the tree, and jumps down and pummels him. It's like, holy shit, that is mad. That is fucking madness. But I did find, though, that the killer in this was pretty cool. I like that we don't get a clear motive for the killer. It's implied that maybe he's seeking revenge for a girl who, if I remember correctly, there was a girl who killed herself in this film. Like, didn't actually kill herself in the film, but it's mentioned by the characters. There was a suicide girl at a college. There's a small possibility that the killer was related to that girl and is killing people at this college for that reason. Never specifically stated, but you know, the implication is stronger than anything that we can get directly. And I found that worked in the film's favor in quite a few ways. It was made it pretty enjoyable to some degree. Also, the characters are enjoyable. As I said before, you get a feeling that you know them because they're kind of talking about how their relationships were prior to the movie starting. You have one girl who's fucking around with one of the teachers. and they talk just enough about their relationship versus his relationship with his wife. So that kind of that adds just a little bit of fuck, I can't even think of the word I'm trying to think of, but I don't know, it creates a sort of established history that you're like, when they mention it, you're on board with it. You don't fucking argue it. It's like, yeah, that's how it is in this universe. It makes sense. But I don't know. There's just something about the characters. I really enjoyed the characters in this one, and I can't stress that enough. Yeah, some of them were cliches. Probably like even before it was actually a cliche for these characters to be what they are. But they all stood out enough. Some of them I can't remember their names. As much as I praise this movie, I can't remember the names of a lot of these characters. But yet, again, I still found them super enjoyable. And some of them, it's like, oh, cool, this guy's finally dying. There were some where it's like, fuck, did this one really have to die? Like, it was whenever Radish gets killed, I was like, fucking really? You're really gonna do this to us, movie? But like when the jock and the frat captain guy get killed, it's like they got their just desserts right there. But yeah, there's quite a few that was like, why? They seem like such a good kid. Why you gotta go and kill this person? But when your killer is a maniac with absolutely zero motive, I'm not gonna complain for anybody dying. As much as I would like to, I won't. But again, I really do enjoy the first act and even the second act when he just starts fucking knocking the kids off. But it's really in the third act, like, you know, when he is in the middle of killing the kids off and he has the chase with Courtney, like after she finds that everyone else has been killed. Fucking, they go to the, I don't want to say observatory, conservatory, but it's like this fucking part of the school with this fucking insane stairs going up the side of it, and chases her up the stairs. And again, that's where the coach comes in with his bow and arrow, tries to kill the killer, but the killer gets the best of him, comes back up to chase the girl. Fucking, they get in a scuffle and he winds up falling all the way down to the fucking bottom from the top of the stairs, like fucking falls over the railing, hits the ground, and Courtney goes down there, grabs the knife, and just fucking stabs him like 12 times, and just kind of leaves victorious. It's like, we don't get any closure outside of that, and that's kind of one thing I like. I like that this one didn't try to do that little dream sequence for one last scare that they like to do in a lot of horror movies. Especially around this time. This one just it did kind of like what Hell Night does. It's like the girl kills the killer and just kind of starts walking away from the situation. She's out crying on the fucking steps, and the movie just sort of ends right there. I thought it was a pretty fitting ending to a film. Anyway, let's move on to the filthy features. As always, we start with a favorite kill. And my favorite kill in Final Exam definitely goes to Wildman, because like this guy, he's the jock, and he's shown himself to be nothing more than just kind of a punk, and he's going to try and get some fucking like prescription steroids or whatever to help him and the other guys stay up so they can study the fucking exam. And he goes in there and sees the killer, and fucking he tries to fight the killer off. And here's where you see just how badass the killer is, because he's overpowering this fucking jock, and this killer looks like he's easily in his fucking mid-30s. And like, he winds up grabbing a piece of exercise equipment, the one with the where you pull on the fucking strings or whatever, and he fucking wraps that around Wildman's neck, fucking pulls him, sends him back, and it's where the rope is connected to the weights and shit. Fucking he pulls him back on that just, I think, like twice, and it basically breaks his neck and strangles him. And all while that's happening, there's a timer going off in the background, like on the basketball court. And as soon as that timer hits 0, it's like right when Wildman dies. So I found that one to be pretty outstanding amongst a lot of the other ones in here, because as much as I like a good stabbing, he does a lot of stabbing in here. Runner-up would definitely be the arrow kill, though. Just for how, that's one I can't look at the same after Fachi pointed that out. But, I don't know. Let's move on to the smutty sightings. Now, there's not really a whole lot in here, but there's a part where this one girl, I forget her name, but she's changing out of a dress into a bathrobe, and you get a quick glimpse of Nudity, and she's waiting for, I can't remember exactly the guy she's waiting for. This shows you just how, as much as I like these characters, I can't remember half their fucking names. So, but she's waiting for a guy, but you see her change from a dress into a fucking robe. Get a quick glimpse of Nudity. It's good for what it was, but it wasn't enough to tame the beast. But in closing, Final Exam I find to be, while it does stagger in some parts, the pacing is a little awkward, but again, I can forgive the pacing for the sake of character development. I did really enjoy this one. It's pretty tame on the kills again, although the kills I found enjoyable. A lot of people I know don't like this one, and I could understand that with the reasons that I said, like the pacing and the kills being a little on the side. But I don't know, I enjoyed it for what it was. Like I've said before, I'm a sucker for the campus slashers. I'm a sucker for the 1981 slashers. I find that Final Exam does most things right. And that's just for my money. Again, I really enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun with it. It's one that I would like to tell people who weren't too big on it to just try and give it another chance. But I'm not going to twist y'all's arms too much on it, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. But as always, thank you all for watching. Please be sure to like and share this video, and if you have not already, stab the fuck out of that subscribe button. And if you're feeling extra filthy, go ahead and leave a comment down below. On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think is the likelihood of them being able to reenact that prank, the shooting prank, in a film if it were made today? On a scale of 1 to 10, what do y'all think? As always, stay filthy.